Hello, this is Patricia welcoming you to the 2155th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline 9th of August 2018. Our readers this week are Patricia, Romany, Reena and Katherin, with them on the controls. The editor was Phillip and the production and distribution team is Sandra and Phillip. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Fernand Bouillon and Harry Breuer. It's performed by Jean-Jacques Perry and used with his kind permission. The local news stories that we'll be reading come from the Enfield Independent and the Edmonton Hundred Newsletter and are their copyright. The events information has been collated by us from other sources. The lead story this week, badly designed cycle lanes lead to crashes. But before the news, we have one or two special items and notices. First, the sunrise and sunset times for the week beginning Monday the 13th of August are 0542 and 2027. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcements. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments about the Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 020 8805 6578. She is your listener's representative and will be pleased to help you. And now, Romany will read the first item of local news.
Badly designed cycle lanes lead to crashes. Poorly designed cycle lanes on a busy main road have led to 10 serious crashes in a matter of months, according to residents. Float-in, which are not actually float-in, parking bays built out into the A1010 Hertford Road to accommodate a section of the Cycle Enfield scheme have reduced passing distances and made drivers' visibility worse, they claim. This has led to collisions in which cars have been damaged or even written off completely. The problems relate to a stretch of the road close to Tramway Avenue. Local resident Bernard King said there has been about 10 serious accidents in the past 6 months. He said, "We did not have these accidents before. Cars were parked by the curb. Now they have done the cycling thing. They are stuck in the middle of the road. It is so ridiculous and dangerous. It is really badly designed." Philip Ridley, committee member at Enfield Transport User Group, said, "There simply is not enough room for parking, 2 cycle lanes and a 2-way A road in this location." Mr. Ridley said the parking bays made the carriageway too narrow for vehicles travelling at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. He added that buses and other vehicles driving too close to the centre of the road to avoid the vehicles in the parking bays lead oncoming drivers to swerve to avoid them, increasing their chances of crashing into parked cars. Mr. Ridley said the parking bays also reduce visibility for drivers, pulling out of streets adjoining the road, increasing the risks of accidents, including collisions with cyclists. He said the most dangerous section is around the 2 parking spaces in front of the northbound bus stop at Tramway Avenue, which forces buses to pull out into the wrong side of the road both before and after the pedestrian crossing. Mr. Ridley suggested the scheme had been rushed through for political reasons, meaning elements of the design were flawed. The Cycle Enfield scheme has previously come under fire over lane dividers, dubbed orcas, which have caused accidents amongst pedestrians. A council spokesperson said, "The designs for the A1010 have been through full consultation and have also been reviewed by Transport for London to ensure they are satisfied with the plans, including any potential impact on buses. We are making changes to create a safer road for everyone, which include a series of measures to help reduce speeds. The scheme complies with all relevant design standards and ensures that all vehicles can continue to safely travel along the corridor. The designs, including the new parking bays, have been subject to formal safety audits in line with best practice. An independent review of the parking around Tramway Avenue has taken place and, as a precaution, a parking bay has already been temporarily suspended. The situation is being actively monitored and further changes to parking arrangements will be made if necessary.
Companies fined for substandard road repairs. 2 utility companies have been slapped with 10,000 fines for carrying out shoddy road repairs that put drivers' safety at risk. Highway inspectors from Enfield Council found the firms had failed to use the correct specification stone chippings in the asphalt material used to repair roads after carrying out maintenance work. Using the correct chippings is essential for safety as they create a skid-resistant surface. At Highbury Magistrates Court on July 19th, electricity firm UK Power Networks pleaded guilty to failing to comply with the statutory minimum standards required under the New Roads and Street Works Act 1991. It was ordered to pay a fine of £10,000 to Enfield Council of £413.49 and a victim's surcharge of £120 for the substandard repair works carried out on Carter Hatch Lane on April 14th. Water company Affinity Water pleaded guilty to the same offence and was fined for work on Cockfosters Road carried out on March 31st. The firm was ordered to pay costs of £524.95 and the victim's surcharge of £120. Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Environment, Councillor Goonie Dogan, said, "This is a very serious matter. Companies of this size should have adequate arrangements in place to prevent this from ever happening. We want to work in partnership with utility companies and other statutory undertakers as they provide essential services to the residents of Enfield. However, we expect that they carry out suitable reinstatements to our highways and will take necessary action where this is not done. Enfield Council has a robust inspection regime to assess work on the borough's roads. We are one of the leading local authorities in the country for ensuring that utility firms reinstate our highways correctly. It is imperative that road services are left in a safe condition. Poorly reinstated utility trenches result in extra disruption to residents and commuters and is quite frankly irresponsible."
They can't be allowed to get away with this. A full-time carer has accused the council of financially destroying him after his garage rents almost doubled in a matter of months. Frank MacDonald of Menon Drive, Edmonton, feels Enfield Council is discriminating against him by unfairly classing him as a private renter and charging him higher rents than for other social housing tenants. The 65-year-old's garage rents almost doubled from £72 per month to more than £130 per month on the 1st of April. Then, in May, he was told the council had been undercharging him for the past 12 years due to an error it made when setting up his account, meaning he would have to start paying around £180 a month to rent the garage. Mr. MacDonald said, "They are absolutely financially destroying me and my partner. They can't be allowed to get away with this. I can't afford £65 out of my pension. They have changed the direct debit to £180 to get the retrospective clawback. It is just not on. They're treating me and my partner disgracefully." Mr. MacDonald is a full-time carer for his 70-year-old partner who has cancer. They were moved out of Tintagel House in 2001 when it was earmarked for demolition and transferred to Housing Association Metropolitan Housing Trust. Mr. MacDonald, who receives a carer's allowance and housing benefit, claimed the council was discriminating against him by treating him differently from other social housing tenants. He said, "How can you deem me a private let, living in social housing supported by housing benefit and council tax discount?" Mr. MacDonald has rented the garage on Cedars Court since 2006 and uses it to store his 1970s Bond bug. He said, "This car is 50 years old. My partner bought it for me for my 21st birthday. I can't have it on the street. It would be stolen." He added that he had looked outside the borough for an alternative garage, but was told he would have to go on a waiting list. Mr. MacDonald said the storage space on offer in Haringey was a cage and would not be suitable for his car. He said he had made a formal complaint to the council and had also written to 3 Enfield MPs, but they had not been in touch. Mr. MacDonald added that he submitted a Freedom of Information request in June and found out 353 garage tenants had been hit by the £60 rent hikes. As a result, 37 people had already given up their tenancies. The council said it would not comment on individual cases. An Enfield Council spokesperson said, "Enfield Council has historically charged a very low rent for garages for private users, and in comparison to garage rents in the open market, our charges are not reflective of the market rates. It was therefore decided that for private users they would be charged a market rent for the use of garages after a number of years of significantly subsidised rent levels."
Moped passenger in critical condition after hit and run. A moped passenger is critically ill in hospital after an alleged hit and run. Police were called by the London Ambulance Service at around 11:30 p.m. on Thursday, with reports of a man injured in Green Lanes near Manor House Tube Station when a car collided with a scooter and failed to stop. The man, aged 20, who was a passenger on the moped, has been admitted to hospital, where he remains in a critical condition. His family have been informed. The man riding the scooter was also taken to hospital. His injuries are not thought to be life-threatening. He has been arrested on suspicion of causing serious injury by dangerous driving. It is understood the moped was involved in a collision with a car at the junction of Woodbury Grove. The driver of the car is believed to have stopped initially before driving away. Anyone who witnessed the collision or who has information is asked to contact police on 101, quoting CAD 9031/2org, or alternatively contact Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111.
Mother praises positive scheme to tackle violence. Knife crime campaigner Yvonne Lawson praised a new initiative by the Mayor of London to map out activities available to young people over the summer to try to tackle serious youth violence. Last week, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, released an interactive map of events for Londoners to stop young people getting caught up in gangs and violence over the summer. The map is available on the City Hall website and promotes more than 200 activities, including education, art and sports activities. Ms. Lawson is the founder and CEO of the Godwin Lawson Foundation, just one of the groups signed up to the interactive activities map. She set up the charity in 2012 to build awareness of knife crime and its consequences after her son Godwin was stabbed to death in Stamford Hill in 2011. Ms. Lawson praised the interactive map in making young people aware of activities available to them over the summer, and she said, "When we are working in schools, we found a lot of young people don't know about the activities available to them over the summer holidays. This is a positive initiative to let people know what is on offer. Young people want to be outside, but they can't be outside when there's nothing positive for them to engage with." During the summer holidays, the GLF will be hosting a charity football match with people from all over London, as well as hosting workshops for young people. The workshops focus on gang crime and the consequences of that young people can face by carrying a knife. She said that the GLF does key work in talking to young people about the dangers of violence and keeping themselves safe, as well as playing in a role offering them skills in both communication and teamwork. Ms. Lawson said, "If we can provide those young people with those skills and resilience, they are less likely to carry a knife. She added, "Another thing is for parents to be vigilant and to know where their children are. They have a role to play too."
Rental costs increased by 24%. Rental properties in Enfield are becoming much less affordable as soaring rental costs have outpaced household income growth. Data from Shelter shows that rental rates across England have increased significantly more than household income since 2011, with the housing charity calling on the government to build more affordable homes to meet the growing need for reasonable rents. In Enfield, the average rental cost of a two-bedroom home increased by 24.6% between 2011 and 2017, outpacing the growth in household income, which rose by just 0.9%. In the 2017 to 18 financial year, the average monthly rent of a two-bedroom home in Enfield cost £1,303. The so-called rent quake, which has traditionally been seen as a London concern, has in recent years started to spread out of the capital to towns and cities across the country. Shelter has called on the government to come up with a new plan for social housing to ensure that people in low-income jobs can find somewhere affordable to rent and reduce the competition in the private rented sector. Greg Beals, the campaign director at Shelter, said, "With this surge in private renters in the housing market has shifted massively, and yet, as a country, we failed to respond. This has resulted in consecutive governments focusing on better off homeowners while not doing enough for hard-pressed renters. We need politicians of all parties to sit up and take notice of the rising numbers of renters and ensure that they're doing all they can to protect them." The situation was most pronounced in the London borough of Barking and Dagenham, where rental prices increased by 42%. The average salary was up by just 2%. The number of households renting from private owners has increased by 74% in the last decade. Of the estimated 23.1 million households in England in 2016 to 17, the private rented sector accounted for 4.7 million, or 20% of households.
And this next article is connected. Debate over rent control. A property entrepreneur has defended the letting agents who charge extortionate deposits amid a debate around a government bill on rent controls. Last week, Mayor of London Sadiq Khan hit out at the government for its proposed tenants' fees bill, a law banning landlords and letting agents from imposing certain financial requirements on renters. Mr. Khan believes the government has watered down its bill to protect tenants against the increasing costs of renting a house and branded it a missed opportunity to protect private renters. But Richard Woodward, who owns a property company, blamed young renters for the huge deposits and agency fees renters are faced with. Mr. Woodward, who has worked in property since he was 18, called renting rooms as part of house shares a dirty business. He added, "It is very difficult for the letting agent and the industry is a risk to be in." Mr. Khan called on the government to cap deposits at 3 weeks' rent, but ministers have proposed a 6-week cap. Analysis from City Hall found that renters in London need to find nearly £3,700 each time they move home, compared with a nationwide average of £2,000. But capping deposits was not something Mr. Woodward agreed with, again blaming young professionals for steep deposits. He said, "Deposits do not need to be capped. They are an insurance premium. A lot of these young people tend to be quite arrogant and ill-mannered. Parents of those children need to teach them how to conduct themselves appropriately. When you are renting somewhere, these young people want to know why you do everything you do, and when they are in the property, they start kicking up a fuss about anything. People create problems for the landlord, and that means we don't get paid. It is the same story, and we are sick of it." But Hannah Slater, Policy and Public Affairs Manager at Generation Rent, a group campaigning for affordable rented homes, was quick to disagree with Mr. Woodward. She says only a small number of renters are difficult to rent properties to. She said, "It is insane that everybody else should be punished because of such rare occurrences." She also supported calls by Mr. Khan to cap deposits at 3 weeks' rent, adding, "The costs of deposits and rents in London is so high, we need to look at how it can be made more affordable."
Dockless bikes to return amid growing demand. Dockless bikes will make a return to Enfield amid growing demand for the service, the council has confirmed. The borough's dockless bike hire scheme was launched in February under a trial arrangement with Irish company Urbo, which was scheduled to run for a year. Urbo rolled out more than 20 virtual dockless bike parking zones near transport interchanges and town centres. The scheme was intended to run in tandem with the council's Cycle Enfield scheme, which has been designed to encourage more people to take up cycling. But Urbo pulled out of Enfield, Waltham Forest and Redbridge on July the 4th, claiming the locations were no longer suited to its business model. Dockless bikes can be unlocked using a mobile phone app and left at designated locations without the need for docking stations, with users paying a small fee to use the service. A council spokesperson said, "The first months of the dockless trial in Enfield have shown a growing demand for affordable access to short bike rides. So to keep providing this service, we're looking to confirm a replacement dockless operation very soon."
Firefighters tackle lawnmower fire. 25 firefighters tackled a blaze sparked by petrol spilling on top of a lawnmower as someone was filling it without a funnel. It broke out around 2:20 p.m. on Sunday 5th of August in a back garden in Anglesey Road, Enfield. The fire quickly spread to neighbouring gardens, destroying a number of sheds and damaging a small section of a nearby railway embankment. It took crews who removed 6 gas cylinders to prevent explosions, more than 8 hours to get it under control shortly before 11 p.m. 4 fire engines from Enfield, Woodford and Walthamstow stations attended.
Climate change is the biggest threat. Enfield Southgate MP Bambos Char Alambus has given his backing to ending the UK's contribution to climate change. Mr. Char Alambus has signed a letter to the Prime Minister stating that the UK should set a target of net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. This means emissions of the harmful gases, which have been shown to contribute to global warming, would be cut to as close to zero as possible. Any remaining greenhouse gases would be soaked up from the atmosphere by measures such as planting trees. A group of constituents from an interfaith delegation based in Enfield Southgate recently met with the MP to thank him for speaking up on climate change. Tony Sheen, a constituent and member of a local group of supporters of the international development charity Katherin, said, "We're delighted that Bambos has signed up to this letter. Climate change is important to me and other residents of Enfield Southgate because we have a duty of care of the earth we live in." Mr. Charlambus said, "Climate change is the biggest long-term threat facing us. We need to call on British ingenuity and innovation to help find solutions to reduce our emissions and for the UK to play its part in the world cleaning our air by cutting emissions."
Labour members pledge full support to Corbyn. Enfield Labour members have given their backing to Jeremy Corbyn as the party remains embroiled in a bitter row over anti-Semitism. A letter signed by 56 members of Enfield North constituency Labour Party pledges full support for the Labour leader in the face of what they call unprecedented and relentless personal attacks on him. A further 43 Enfield Labour members have signed the letter, which claims Mr Corbyn has been deliberately misrepresented by some who fear a socialist Labour government. The Labour leader has faced ongoing accusations that he has not done enough to tackle anti-Semitism within the party membership. The latest row erupted after it emerged that Labour's government body, the National Executive Committee, NEC, had dropped the most widely accepted definition of anti-Semitism, the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition, the IHRA. The NEC decided not to adopt the full IHRA definition because it said doing so could lead criticism of Israel to be classed as anti-Semitism. The letter from Enfield Labour members states, Jeremy has fought against racism, discrimination and bigotry all his political life. We are seeing his history deliberately misrepresented by some who fear a socialist Labour government with the complicity of a biased and incompetent media, and sadly others closer to home. We join with Jeremy once again in condemning all acts of racism, discrimination and bigotry, and stand shoulder to shoulder with him, ready to fight for the poor, the oppressed and the disadvantaged in our communities and all around the world. Labour's NEC has agreed to reopen discussions on the code, and a vote on whether to accept the full IHRA definition will not take place until September.
And now more cycle route news. A new major cycle route will be built between Tottenham Hale and Camden. The road, which will be similar to the controversial Mini Holland scheme in Waltham Forest and Enfield, will span across 8 kilometres. It has not proven popular in other areas, where people were angry about the loss of parking and closure of major roads. The cycle route will be built alongside main roads, enabling people to cycle between Tottenham, Manor House, Finsbury Park, Holloway and Camden. But London Assembly member for Enfield, Joanne McCartney, praised the project. She said this is great news for residents, providing a safer route for cyclists through major junctions on the way in and out of central London. The announcement from the Deputy Mayor marks a significant step in laying down the high-quality infrastructure needed to encourage more Londoners to get on their bikes, live healthier lifestyles and play their part in tackling congestion and cleaning up our air. During a speech, Labour MP Heidi Alexander said that pedestrians were a priority in London. She vowed not to take out any pedestrian crossings, as well as saying she will work with boroughs to introduce initiatives to reduce traffic outside schools. She also stressed the need for better public transport in outer London and the need to get more people walking and cycling in the capital.
And now the following 3 items are taken from the Edmonton Hundred Newsletter. This one is the old Tudor Palace saved. And this is for those residents interested in Enfield's historic buildings, and there was good news in the Enfield Gazette dated July the 26th. So this reads, in reference to the impending sale of freehold properties in Enfield Town, we are informed by Messrs. Alfred Bowyer and Jones, the auctioneers, that they have disposed by private treaty of Lot 2, which comprises the old Tudor Palace with its unique fitments at a satisfactory figure. We understand that this valuable property has been acquired by Messrs. Leggett Brothers, whose object in buying the ancient building is to preserve it for posterity. Animated by a like desire, the vendor, who is also an Enfield resident, has arranged that the grand old panelling, chimney pieces and others of the architectural features are to remain in situ. The purchasers have arranged with the vendor that they will not sell or otherwise dispose of the property during the period of 2 years from the date of purchase to any person except the Enfield Urban District Council or some society formed for the preservation of historical buildings, on the understanding that upon any such sale, the purchasers shall dedicate the building and contents to the use of the parish of Enfield forever.
Hidden Treasures, revealing Bromfield House and Park. New exhibition at Museum of Enfield, Dugdale Centre, London Road, Enfield. Bromfield House has a history stretching back to the 16th century, with some notable owners. Along with surrounding park, it was bought for public use in 1903. The house sadly suffered a number of fires, but key items were salvaged and stored with the aim of restoration. Many people have fond memories of this building, its museum, art displays, cafe and baby clinic. This exhibition explores the history of Bromfield House to the present day, bringing the house and landscape back to life through photographs, paintings and objects. It's a rare chance to see a newly restored section of the Barraque land screen murals and rediscover one of Enfield's lost treasures. Open Monday to Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Charles Boswell, gunmaker of Edmonton. And this article is by Terry Wayland. It may come as a mild surprise to learn that one of England's makers of best guns in the late 19th century was located in Edmonton for several years. Boswell's guns still command good prices at auctions. Charles Boswell was born in 1850 at Hertford. At the age of 14, he was apprenticed to a Thomas Gooch of 4th Street, Edmonton. In 1871, he went to work at the Royal Small Arms Factory in Enfield as a sight filer, travelling daily from a home in Shoreditch. He left in 1872, and during that year he married, and in October set up his own business as a gunmaker at 6 Chapel Place, Upper 4th Street, Edmonton. He was listed in Kelly's directories, and the 1881 census listed him as resident at 5 Chapel Place. Boswell was a well-known and successful competition shooter, which assisted in promoting his own guns. It is unlikely that any manufacturing took place in the Upper 4th Street premises. It was normal practice in the gun trade for the principal to buy in the various components in a raw state and then send them to outworkers who would finish the items according to the principal's instructions. Boswell prospered, and by the 1880s he was exporting guns as far as Australia on a regular basis. One of his guns was called the Edmonton Tanglock, a hammerless gun with strikers located in the top tang. Boswell did not invent any new actions, but his guns were noted for the fineness of their finish. He also sold shooting accessories and pistols and revolvers made by William Tranter, although they were marked Boswell, Edmonton N. His success was such that in 1883 he moved his business premises to 126 The Strand. By this date, his firm had won 10 gold cups in the field gun trials. By 1890, Boswell had moved his home address to 213 Crossbrook Street, Cheshunt, and later he moved to Swiss Cottage, Barnet Road, South Mimms. In 1906 and 1907, he was chairman of the Gunmakers Association. By this time, most Boswell guns were manufactured and proved in Birmingham. In 1921, the firm moved to premises at 7 South Moulton Street, Bond Street. Charles Boswell died in 1924, and the business was continued by his son Osborne. The business declined over the remaining years, and it closed after bomb damage in 1941. However, the Charles Boswell name did not die. The rights were purchased by Americans and are currently owned by a Mr. C. Baffer. It is still possible to purchase a Charles Boswell gun, with prices starting at $45,000. Mr. Baffer states each gun takes 1,200 man-hours to produce.
And now we have some news of events in the borough and farther afield, both over the next few weeks and looking a little bit farther ahead too. So first off, the details of some events at the Dugdale Centre related to the Hidden Treasures exhibition that we heard about earlier. It's at the museum. These events take place at the Museum of Enfield at the Dugdale Centre. And there is a Saturday Arts Club which will be meeting every first Saturday of the month while the exhibition is on. So that's from now going on till January. So you have the chance of attending on the first Saturday of the month at the Dugdale Centre. And for £1, they're holding craft activities in the museum relating to the exhibition about Broomfield House. There is a website. It's a little bit long. I'll give you the address slowly. It's what's-arts-club. I think the simplest thing probably would be to simply Google Dugdale Centre and follow looking through for the Saturday Arts Club events. One more item too, Tuesday talks. Once a month, there are free talks at the Dugdale Centre from a variety of experts on the history of Broomfield House and Park, as well as those who are managing Broomfield Park today. Again, there's that hideously long www address, and I suggest you you Google Dugdale Centre Tuesday Talks. Again, they're running during the duration of the Broomfield House exhibition. So Dugdale Talks, Tuesday Talks.
And the following are a few events being held at Chicken Shed over the autumn. A fearless and innovative new production of Jekyll and Hyde kicks off their season in the Studio Theatre. Exploring the duality of human nature, this utterly iconic story will be boldly told with music, movement and youthful vigour that honours the breathless pace of the original novella. And this isn't the only well-loved story that Chicken Shed will be adapting for the stage this year. Chicken Shed also proudly presents A Christmas Carol in a newly imagined and fresh way. They will be moving the story out of its Victorian origins and into London's East End in the 1930s, which will provide them with some wonderful performance opportunities that characterise the Chicken Shed Christmas show magic. Their children's programme also continues to believe in the magic as it enters its busiest season with over 100 performances of Tales from the Shed, Planet Play and Christmas Tales between September and January. And as if all of their incredible performance weren't enough, they also have some very special events lined up. From September, they will be welcoming the human inside everyone's favourite droid, C-3PO. That's right, the brilliant Anthony Daniels will be joining them in conversation at Chicken Shed, and it's difficult for them to contain their excitement. Star Wars attire is encouraged. Chicken Shed will also be joined by one of the world's greatest and best-loved actors, Sir Derek Jacobi, who, on the set of Chicken Shed's A Christmas Carol, will look back on his career and share some seasonal readings. Finally, Chicken Shed are thrilled to announce that Jamie Raven, who took the entertainment world by storm during 2015's Britain's Got Talent, will be creating a very special performance especially for Chicken Shed entitled We Are Magic. And if all of that wasn't enough, we also have a whole season's worth of comedy, live music and workshops. So get yourself down to the Chicken Shed this autumn for an absolutely extraordinary time. They can't wait to see you.
On Tuesday, the 14th of August at 1 p.m, the Museum of Enfield presents Objects in Focus at Chase Farm School Tapestry and Cup Remnant. Join Joe Studman for August's lunchtime talk. This is a story about how orphaned and deserted children were cared for in the late Victorian Enfield. Come and discover the history of Chase Farm School and see the items on display. It is a free event. Bookings is advised, but you can also turn up on the date and get a free ticket at the box office. Pop into the Dugdale Cafe prior to the talk and purchase refreshments and lunch and enjoy it during the talk. More details are available at the Dugdale Centre website.
This is for Friday the 17th of August and it begins at 10 o'clock in the morning. And it's a Workers' Educational Association summer course. And it's entitled A Summer's Morning in the Company of Two Very Interesting Greek Chaps. It's by Brandon Robshaw. And it's a 2-hour course, so it's from 10 o'clock in the morning until 12 o'clock. And the course will focus on ideas by 2 important philosophers from ancient Greece, Plato and Aristotle. We will read a short extract from Plato's Republic and discuss his famous metaphor of the cave. And we will discuss Aristotle's conception of tragedy, making for an entertaining, enjoyable and intellectually stimulating morning. The tickets are £9 and the talk will be held at the Enfield Baptist Church on Cecil Road. The tutor is, again, Brandon Robshaw, and the tickets are £9. And I suspect that you probably have to contact the Enfield Baptist Church, but there's also a web address here for the Enfield and Southgate branch of the Workers' Educational Association, which is www.wea.org.uk/London. And there's just a very brief advert here for the following week, which is the 28th of August, by Michael King, Literature Connected with Country Houses. So that's just giving you a brief snippet, and I'm sure you'll hear about that next time. Now we move on to Sunday, the 19th of August, and this is for an event from 12 o'clock until 6 p.m. This is the Enfield Marketplace Summer Music Festival in Church Street, Enfield. And there will be stalls, crafts, local brews, street food, and an array of local talent, people such as Blue Lane, Inspire, Chimes, Chili Elephant, That Blue Patch and Rose Red. It's a completely free community event, so pop along if you feel like some music, like some local crafts and brews and street food to Enfield Market between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock on Sunday the 19th of August.
And now I have information about the annual August Broomfield Blues Festival. Advance notice of what's going to be taking place in week 3 of that festival. That's on Sunday, the 19th of August. And the background to this festival, Palmer's Green plays host to one of London's top blues clubs, St Harmonicas, hosted at St Monica's Parish Centre in Cannon Hill. And they've been nominated Best Blues Venue in the UK's Blues Forum's annual awards. So blues are their thing. Every year they have a Broomfield Blues Festival, which acts as a taster really for what they offer every Friday evening at St Harmonica. So if you like what you hear, the idea is you may want to become a regular at their Friday gigs. But every Sunday afternoon during August, you can come along, eat, drink and listen to 3 hours of some of the best blues music London has to offer. And they say, if you like what you hear, all we ask is that you acknowledge that by contributing to the collection hat earlier when it does the rounds or via the control site. So it's up to you. You pay what you think it's worth. Local charities will be present offering teas and coffee. And they say they have a very fine ice cream stall and a terrific bar. And there's glorious food served by 90 on the green. So what's not to like? Each afternoon is preceded by a 1-hour open mic session starting at 1:30. And that offers a stage to up-and-coming as well as experienced performers. So they welcome your support. So tickets are free. You pay what you feel you can afford. Well, on the 19th of August, the theme is Chicago Blues. So we have an hour of open mic time, 1:30 to 2:30. See who turns up and surprise us all. 2:30 to 3:30 features Dawn Sandals and the Raiders. They have rocked some of the biggest festivals here in the UK and abroad. Hailing from Machynlleth in Wales, Dawn has power and presence in spades. The Raiders draw from some of the finest musicians in the UK and together provide a feast you won't forget, it says. And between 4 and 5:30, Doc Kay's Blues Band say they've been around for over 50 years, so they have quite a pedigree. So keen blues for lovers, go up to St Monica's Parish Centre in Cannon Hill on Sunday, the 19th of August.
And finally, some information about our forthcoming audio description events at Tate Britain, which will be happening in August and September. On Monday the 20th of August at 10:30 a.m. for refreshments. Tour starts at 11 a.m. And this is another visit to All Too Human. And this is a very, very long URL address, tate.org.uk/all. The last time we audio described this exhibition, we realised that we still had so much more to describe. So here is another chance to hear descriptions of a more inclusive range of the paintings on display. The audio description guide, Marta Capella, and that's Marta Capella, not Mart a cappella. Monday the 17th of September at 10:30 a.m. for refreshments. The tour starts at 11 a.m. A Common Ground. And this is a tour of the responsive sculptures and vegetable gardens at Tate Britain, which should come nicely into harvest by mid-September. Another long URL address, https://www.tate.org.uk/what-on-tour/tate-tour/audio-tour-common-ground. Not as long as the first one. Audio description guides are Annie Bedford and Lawrence van der Noorder, with a free picnic lunch in the garden that will be provided after the tour. We are greatly looking forward to seeing you. There is no need to book, just come along to the meeting point in the Manton studio between 10:30 and 11 a.m. where we will be waiting to greet you. Stools and hearing equipment will be provided for your comfort. And that's from Marcus Dickey Hawley, who's the curator of public programmes and visitor experience.
On Friday the 31st of August at 7 p.m, there's a picnic in the park in the dark showing Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Tickets are £6.50 and it's at Bromfield Park Bowling Green. Contact www.talkies.org.uk for more information.
And news of the Palmer's Green Festival. For the 11th consecutive year, Broomfield Park will play host to the Palmer's Green Festival, our borough's biggest and surely the best event for everyone. It's on Sunday, the 2nd of September, between 12 and 7 p.m. in the evening. Tickets are completely free, so it's a free admission event, and it's at Broomfield Park in Palmer's Green, N13. For more information, contact www.palmersgreenfestival, all one word, .org.uk.
And we have news now of two separate events coming shortly, which should appeal to all lovers of classic and vintage cars. The first one is taking place at White Webb's Museum. It's an open day and American and custom car day. It says, in brackets, with music, so presumably suitable for American custom cars. That's going to take place on Sunday, the 26th of August. Whole day, it starts at 10 in the morning, runs through till 8 at night. It says there will be a wide variety of all American and custom motor cars on show. Come along and explore the museum at this special open day. There will also be live bands and DJs playing music all day. If you want more information, you can ring 020 8367 1898. The tickets cost £5 per adult, and accompanied children under 13 are free. And the venue for that is Whitewebs Museum of Transport, Whitewebs Road, EN2 9HW. And the second motoring event is a classic vintage car show. Motor along to the classic and vintage car show at Capel Manor Gardens to see a wide range of fabulous cars, some dating back to the 1920s, and the annual rally of the North London Middlesex Morris Miners Club. All classic cars and clubs are welcome. This takes place on Sunday the 2nd of September from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and the last admission's at 4. It's held at Capel Manor. Tickets cost £7 for adults, concessions £6, children £4, and family ticket is £20. And if you're a friend of Capel Manor, you can get in free.
Now we have a performance called Grand Slam, which involves Simple Minds, Pretenders and Katie Tunstall. Global icon Simple Minds, those that created Alive and Kickin', and the Pretenders, Gotta Stop Sobbing, continue to enjoy the outstanding musical journeys and phenomenal worldwide success. They now come together on the same stage for the first time since Live Aid to present a unique opportunity to see both bands as they tour throughout the UK in 2018. Add to this groundbreaking and exclusive tour as a very special guest, Katie Tunstall, I'm sorry, I don't know what she sung, is confirmed to join the tour. A sensational lineup of 3 unique artists making Grand Slam 2018 the ticket of the year. Contact www.simpleminds.com or www.thepretenders.com. And this is on Monday the 27th of August, times to be confirmed, and the tickets cost from £37.50 plus booking fee for the bronze general admission, £45 plus booking fee for the silver enclosure, and £60 plus booking fee for the golden circle. And this is to be held in Trent Park.
Volunteers needed. We, the Nightingale Cancer Supporter Centre, are looking for volunteers to help us celebrate our 16th birthday with a big bucket collecting fundraiser on the 17th and 18th of August in Enfield Town. Volunteers would be collecting donations from members of the public and distributing event leaflets. We've got all the necessary permissions, freebies and snacks ready, and now need your help to make the event a success. If you would like to take part, please get in touch by calling 0208 366 4333. P.S. The dress code is red and white or fancy dress.
Heartbreaking memoir. A father of 2 has just published a heartbreaking memoir called Damaged. In the book, Chris Wilde, 39, from Enfield, relays his memories of the care system with the stories of all the boys, girls, men and women he met along the way. He explains, "I lived a very normal working class life, and then on April the 1st, 1996, my dad caught chickenpox and died. Overnight, the blue skies of my happy youth were coated with ominous dark clouds. My childhood came to an end, and my mum met an abusive man. I was expelled from school 6 times, and I ended up in the care system. It wasn't long until Chris ended up involved with street gangs who were like a new family. The system let me down, but the gang didn't," Chris explains, before adding, "There was normally a price to pay for their generosity, which meant me breaking the law." Chris tells me Damaged is for all the vulnerable young people in the care system, for the adults who suffer with addiction or mental health problems, and it is also for the general public so that they can reach out to that person in need. It wasn't easy to write, he tells me. It was emotional, and it took its toll on my family. I was drinking a bottle of red wine a night to help me sleep. Things came back to me that my subconscious had locked away. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I write. It's impulsive reaction. I let my emotions lead the way. It starts in the head and ends in the heart. That's how I convey my feelings. He adds, I was able to get through my difficult time because of books like Damaged. I want it to inspire people to speak up and speak out. Most of all, it's about personal success, forgiveness. It's about standing up, moving forward, living life. Whatever trauma you've been through, take control, own it. It belongs to you. And that's the book Damaged by Chris Wilde.
And now we have some sports stories, starting with two fine strikes that secured the latest pre-season victory for Enfield Town. Towners continue encouraging build-up. Enfield Town continued their winning run with a 2-1 victory against Middlesex rivals Hendon in their penultimate pre-season friendly at the Queen Elizabeth II Stadium on Saturday. The win means Town get ready for their league opener at Folkestone Invicta on Saturday in the best possible manner with their third win on the bounce. Starting brightly, Enfield went close through to two Brandon Adams efforts before opening the scoring with 20 minutes played. After an excellent team move, it was Sam Cheney who took receipt of the ball before curling a magnificent effort that found the top corner from the edge of the penalty area. It could have been 2-2 on the half hour had Tefik Olomawewe not fluffed his lines, firing wide from close range following an inviting Sam Young's corner. The Towners suffered a scare, however, towards the end of the opening half, as goalkeeper Josh Stritzovic had to be at his agile best to turn over Cole Brown's header for the visitors. That proved to be an important save, as within moments Enfield had doubled their lead. In a mirror image of their opener, Lewis Taff found the net as he drilled an effort into the top corner from a similar range. Then the same player might have doubled his tally for the afternoon, only for Hendon goalkeeper Danny Bonus to tip his effort over the bar. Hendon boss James Gray introduced experienced former Football League forward Marvin Morgan from the bench for the Greens in a bid to haul them back into the contest, although Bilal Sayoud might have put the game to bed as he crashed an effort against the bar with 20 minutes to play. To their credit, Hendon kept plugging away and eventually reduced the arrears with 4 minutes of time remaining. Dashing the excellent Stritchovic's hopes of a clean sheet in the process, Tyrek Hunt breached the Enfield back line on the offside trap before finishing well to make it 2-1. But it was the hosts Enfield who held on to secure another morale-boosting win ahead of the new Bostik league season. Enfield had previously registered an impressive 6-1 win over an Oxford United under-23s side at Donkey Lane last Tuesday. A brace from Liam Hope and goals from Ryan McLean, Remy Sutton, Aaron Green and Sayoud completed an excellent showing from Andy Leese's men. Their pre-season preparations drew to a close last night when they took on the latest supporter-owner club, Clapton Community, at QE2 Stadium. Both sides were contesting the Brian Lomax Cup, named in memory of the pioneer of the Supporters Trust movement, who passed away in 2015.
Now some cricket. Harrow hit promotion hopes. Enfield suffered the untimely setback of losing to one of their promotion rivals after succumbing to a 6-wicket defeat at the hands of third-placed Harrow St Mary's. Victory for host Harrow sees them close the gap to just 8 points on second-placed Enfield, who are themselves now 4 points off leaders Stanmore in a congested Division 2. Batting first, Enfield got off to a disastrous start and they found themselves struggling at 17-3 with Caleb Anthony Auld doing the bulk of the damage. Rayhan Hassan battled to post an unbeaten 54, but only Dan Amadi offered anything in support. Syed Kawar Ali Kazmi's 330 and 1-1 from Harindu Gunasekara helped dismiss the visitors for just 125. In reply, Harrow were rarely troubled despite 2 wickets apiece for spinners Amir Ihsan 2-10 and Hassan 2-32, as Jamit Patel's 63 helped them to their victory target. Winchmore Hill battled to a 4-point draw with Eastcote, but they are far from safe as they remain in 8th. Batting first, visitors Eastcote posted 221-7 thanks to Ashani Wijesuria and Furaraj Ashwin. Oh, he's got an English surname. 46. There were 2 wickets apiece for Hill duo Mitchell Todd and Jack Irwin, and 1 apiece for Charlie Avent and Karen Palmer. Winchmore's reply got off to a steady start after an opening stand of 90 between Jim Gattin and Palmer. However, when the latter fell for 31, it instigated a mini collapse as they staggered to 128-4. Gattin eventually falling for a well-fought 68. Runs in the middle order rebuilt things with knocks from Sam Weller and Todd, but Hill would again collapse from 180-5 to 205-9. Ross Forrester's unbeaten 37 proved sufficient for the hosts to limp to 210-9 and secure a draw.
Back to football. Reese's side hit Woodwork 3 times in opening day defeat. Enfield Borough were left to rue misfortune and bemoan their wasteful finishing after slipping to a 1-0 defeat to Enfield Town on the opening day of the new Spartan South Midlands Division 1 season on Saturday. It was all changed for Borough after a first season of consolidation at Step 6 last term, with new manager Sean Rees handing competitive debuts to Brandon Walsh, Brandon McKenna, Ali Bangura and Richard Oluwatoniyan, playing in new surroundings, having agreed a ground-sharing arrangement to use Wingate and Finchley's Maurice Reback Stadium. It was Enfield who started the better as Bangura saw 2 opportunities come and go in quick succession. Then, in a neat 1-2 between McKenna and Thomas Opoku, eventually forced a sprawling save from Enfield's goalkeeper, but with the dangerful far from over, Bangura was unable to return home the rebound. Enfield continued to dominate proceedings, creating and squandering further promising openings in an encouraging first half display. Richard Ennin headed wide despite being unmarked before Brian Tishibangu was unfortunate to see his event cleared off the line, and Jemiah Planty Lawrence hit the woodwork from a free kick. Enfield grew into the contest as the game ticked towards the break, with a string of half chances providing warnings for Borough. Early in the second period, Bangura was again denied as Enfield struck the post for the second time in the match, and the hosts would be punished for their profligate finishings as Jamie Serminara was judged marginally onside and he finished well beyond Walsh. At 1-0 and prepared to sit back, the Bedfordshire club nearly stung Enfield again on the break before Reese's charges were denied by the post for the 3rd time. Incredibly, however, Enfield delivered a smash-and-grab raid on the opening day to notch up a 1-0 victory that defied Enfield's dominance.
Well, after all that sporting excitement, we've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Patricia, Romany, Reena and Katherin, and from Dem on the controls, it's goodbye. Now, please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet. Put the memory stick into the packet in a closed position and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget, you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking newspaper on 020 8805 6578. And coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from InfoSound. The Enfield Talking newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.